Hey, Masters of Speed, it's Terramaster, that's Drake, and today we're going to give you deck profiles for the most recent Cope or Hope. We got Turbulence of Destiny, is the name I came up with right now.
Right now on the spot.
Just right now on the spot. We got Cloudian Turbulence and Plasma, the deck. And Drake, why don't you tell us about this deck? It's your deck.
Yeah. So the whole goal of this deck is to actually draw a Turbulence and a Plasma, and with the skill, what that allows you to do is special summon 2 Smoke Balls, whether they're in your deck or graveyard, doesn't matter. And then you have 3 monsters out, and you tribute all 3 for Plasma. You take their biggest monster, now you have a huge Plasma, and all their monster effects are negated. It's a cool combo. It's probably the easiest way in Speed Duel to summon a Plasma, which is neat.
Right.
For the rest of the deck, you have Cloudian Altis. He's a little harder to trigger because he has to remove 3 counters to discard a card from opponent's hand. And when you summon him with the skill, he only has 2 counters. Now, you can put 5 more on him if you have Aerosol and a Cloudian in hand. And now you're discarding not only 1, but 2 cards from their hand. And you can even do this on turn 1. So it can be a pretty powerful play. And then the Aerosol has a Grave effect in your next turn. You can just special summon Cloudian from your deck. Not super relevant in this build, but having a little blocker or tribute for Plasma is fine.
Yep.
More air greeds you're trying to find the combo. So you want to shuffle back in any extra water monsters you have, which is all the Cloudians.
Yeah.
And draw into your Turbulence, your Plasma, your Aerosol, your Wabaku, stuff like that. Wabaku, pretty self-explanatory. This keeps you alive, and you're not going to take damage off of your Cloudians if they attack those. They're all pretty low attack. But, hey, they stay alive, they do their thing again. That's good.
Yep.
For the sideboard, we were just kind of testing out some of the new Cloudian cards. Acid Cloud hits back row. Serial Stratus hits monsters. Both of these actually work with the Fog Warning. So you put them into play, they get their second counter, and you can immediately remove them to destroy a card. So in the matchup we played, I actually sided in the Serial Stratus to pop monsters. It was pretty good. The Nimbus I did not side in. It can do some cute things. It can get very large. If you decide to use Aerosol and put the counters on Plasma, he gets 10 counters, I believe. And that makes this guy, what, 6,000? 500 for each? Plus
plus 1,000. Yeah, if you were to get 10 counters, but I think Plasma might only give you 9, because it's 8.
Oh, I'm sorry. 9. So 5,500.
So 55, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a cute little combo, and you can actually special summon Nimbus Mana out of the deck with Aerosol.
Yeah.
So the sideboard was kind of we were just testing things out. Wouldn't necessarily look like this in the long run.
Yep. Okay.
Do you have any thoughts?
I think if you want to, the Turbulence Plasma combo is nice, but I think the rest of the deck should be like more generic, honestly.
Yeah.
We just wanted to show off like more pure Cloudian stuff, which is why
we wanted to be able to call this a Cloudian deck, so that's why we played so much Cloudians.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you do like the Turbulence Plasma combo, you might just want to, because that's an 8-card engine.
Right.
So you might want to just cut the Mores, cut the Aerosols, cut the Altis, and then you can still side in Serial Stratus and Acids if that is something you think would be good.
Right.
But yeah, you can just fill the deck with more back row. Things like Book of Moon, Wall Disruption,
maybe back row hate. Yeah.
Maybe even back row hate. Yeah.
Because it's interesting that Plasma can actually be so good in some matchups. It's a relinquished and a skill drain if you can keep it alive. And both those cards individually are like, one of them's not even in Speed Duel. And relinquished is scary to some decks. So skill drain would be scary to a lot of decks. So just, it just goes to show you Plasma can be really good if you can ever get it out consistently. But all right, that's enough of that. Let's move on to our winning deck, and that is Lightning Golem. So your 3 of slot, 2 breaker, 3 warrior lady. I mean 1 warrior lady. I'm not cheating. Back row hate. We just thought breaker is better for the back row hate rather than playing Galaxy Cyclone and or Cosmic or something like that, because it allows you to play Allure, and it's like a good normal summon, whereas
it's 4,000 damage if everything goes
these
right,
monsters
right?
aren't. Yes, yeah, that too. So if you can breaker, if you can get rid of their only back row, then once you summon your Lightning Golem and kill their monsters, 4,000 damage. Yeah. Warrior Lady, you saw how good Warrior Lady can be with Rhoda during the match. Not much else to say there. Warrior Lady's just Warrior Lady. Versago is, you won't always draw Clayman and Sparkman at the same time, so you play more copies of both, essentially. That's all that is. Clayman, Sparkman, you obviously need them because that's your actual fusion materials. Hero lives to get turbo your heroes out of your deck. We already explained the lore. You got 3 fusion spells. The Dark Fusion is searchable. The calling is extra Lightning Golems later on in the duel. You got 3 total because in case something weird happens, you only have 3 Lightning Golem. Also, 3 Dark Calling, as far as me and Drake have tried decks, is bad because you don't want to open multiple like ever. So yeah, only 2 is fine. Rhoda is just Rhoda, right? It adds your fusion material or just a staple, so pretty good card. Shouldn't be at 1, but it is, so we only play 1. All right, and then this is something you brought up. You want to explain the Survivor in the side deck?
Okay, so we're already playing Rhoda. So siding a single DD Survivor is pretty cool because if they're using their limited 3 on DD Warrior Ladies, this card counters it so well. You attack into the DD Warrior Lady, they can choose not to banish, doesn't matter, you won that battle, right? Or they could choose to banish and your DD Survivor just comes back. So it's a Rhoda target that beats DD Warrior Lady.
Yep. Speaking of Rhoda targets that are good to side, Vampire Hunter. Opponent playing any dark deck, Dark Scorpions is a thing, right? Even if they're on Raviel for some reason. If they're on...
Vampires, I believe?
Yeah, Vampire. They got Vampire's Curse out. This will get rid of it. So Vampire Hunter can be pretty good for that. Galaxy Cyclone, again, like I said, back row hate, in case you need more than 2, which you might against a lot of the slower decks that do exist in Speed Duel. Mind Crush is just Mind Crush, right? When you don't know what to side in Mind Crush. It's really good against Ladybug, it's really good against Cyber Angels, it's really good against Relinquished. Anything that searches. It might also be really good against Rhoda, so who knows, right? It's good to chain the Dark Fusion if you know what your opponent's making. So Mind Crush is just good. It's just solid. Yep. Do you have any closing thoughts on this deck?
Just that there's a few slots that you can change if you find something better to play. Maybe you want to main more defense. You don't have to play a 3 hero lives. You might find that 1 or 2 or 0 actually is better.
I agree.
Same with Allure. Allure is not essential in here. It's kind of just like, hopefully we see our combo faster. That was the idea, but there's only 5 darks. You don't necessarily need to play it. So you have about, 4 cards in here that you can kind of work with and put in your own flavor.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's a good point. All right. Before we go, Drake, we got to ask the question. Are these decks cope or hope?
All right. We're on this one, so I'll answer this one first.
Okay.
This one is hope, but
okay.
I think there are things you can do with this. I think there are ways to make this deck maybe even hope. Because it runs Dark Calling, you could choose to run things like Jujutsu Master in here, and you already have a Fiend in here.
Mm-hmm.
And now maybe you can make Dark Gaia as well with your Dark Calling or your Dark Fusion. And Jujutsu Master is just a good card.
Right.
Yeah, stuff like that. I think there's like room to work with. Lightning Golem's effect is actually very good.
Yes.
And when summoned with Dark Calling, they can't like Book of Moon it, for instance, that turn. Just a guy that pops something every turn and has a 24 body really isn't bad. I think it's cope because of how you summon it.
Right.
Like, oh, I have to use
It's
3 cards to make
Right.
1 card.
It's almost good enough to make up for being 3 cards to make it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's 2 issues. One, you're still going -1 on the first turn you summon him, right? Because even if you destroy 1 monster, you still went -2. Your opponent went -1. You went net -1. And then if it gets floodgated, you just did -2 for nothing.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
If everything goes right, it's a good card. But we know everything's not going to go right every time.
No.
So it's cope, but I think if you want to take this to your locals or something like that, yeah, you can totally have fun with this.
Yep. All right. Let's go to oh, dude, Plasma Turbulence was right there. It's like Plasma Turbo, but Plasma Turbulence. Anyway.
Oh man, that's great.
Anyway, deck has been named for real. So talk about it.
Plasma Turbulence.
Yeah, Plasma Turbulence.
Okay, so this deck is just definitely cope.
Yeah.
I think there's less potential in this exact build. Again, we already said we wanted to show off the Cloudians. That's why there's so many of them in here.
Yeah.
But if you do cut like 9 cards from this main, you could make this a little more solid. You can put in staples. You can put in things like Breaker, Wall of Disruption, Floodgate, Book of Moon, whichever ones you choose. And you could again maybe take this to locals and get some people off guard. Like they're not going to expect you to be like, turn 1 Plasma. They're not going to expect that. That is a fun play to pull off.
Yeah.
And when you take like your opponent's Relinquished with it, or you take your opponent's Azana with it, it feels fantastic. There's nothing they can do about it.
Yep.
As you saw, it's a bit inconsistent. We showed off 5 games, and I only drew the combo in 2 of them. And in one of those 2, I didn't even get to do it because I died too fast. I didn't have a Wabaku to stay alive. Yeah. So could you build this in a way where it's a fun little thing to take to locals, and people are going to be like, whoa, I don't know how to deal with Plasma? Yeah, sure.
Yep. I also want to say, I don't think we're in that spot yet in Speed Duel, but if we ever get to a Yu-Gi-Oh! Like a format that we do have an advanced, I've literally played these formats where people rely on monster effects a lot, like exclusively sometimes. So sometimes summoning Plasma can just, like Cyber Angels are the perfect example, right? They, unless they have exactly the share of the pain that they're playing in like our recent builds, they can't really do anything to a Plasma without their monster effects.
Right. Even if you're going first and setting up Plasma, it's a 1900, so Azana could just attack over it. But you have things like Wabaku to make that not the case.
Right. And once you Wabaku'd that, well, now it's over because now you get to absorb the Azana, and then that's it. Right.
Yep.
So, yeah, there's already one very strong deck that Plasma hurts a lot, and knowing Yu-Gi-Oh, that number is going to go up, not down. So, yeah, Plasma's cool, and who knows how good it's going to get in the future. So, yeah, just something to keep in mind, a little concept to summon Plasma. But yeah, with both those decks, make them more to your liking and make them stronger, obviously. But for the purpose of showing off, they were what they were. So let us know what you think of these decks in the comments below. Cope or Hope. But until next week, for more Cope or Hope, we're going to go through the entire box. Terramaster and Drake, we're out.